Association.
And I'm Devore. I'm Vice President of We Believe You, a student organization on campus that supports survivors of sexual assault.
This listening session is for all of us. We want to pay special respect to UMBC students who requested this space to be created for them. We will center the voices of UMBC students and ask that students be given the opportunity to speak first. We appreciate our greater UMBC community who is here today, who also do not want to stay silent and want to voice their concerns and questions. As a reminder, we have a Google form live for those of you who are uncomfortable speaking at the microphone. You can submit your thoughts at bit.ly/UMBC-listens. And also our students on the side, if you could raise your hand if you have note cards. You can raise your hand throughout the events and a note card can be brought to you where you can write your thoughts there.
Because of today's content at the listening session, stories that you hear today will contain issues and experiences related to sexual violence. Please make sure that you are taking care of yourself to the best of your ability. Counselors on call from the Counseling Center are available and quasi-confidential staff members are also on call. They are seated in the back of the room.
We also want to let our audience know that many local media outlets are present tonight, including UMBC's The Retriever and other local outlets. There are a few other people that I would like to mention that are present in the room. Delegate Clarence Lamb is in the room. Delegate Mark Chang. Vice Chancellor for Academic and Student Affairs through the University System of Maryland, Joanne Bossman. And they have come to listen as well. To ensure privacy, particularly of survivors who may share their experiences, we're asking everyone to refrain from all live recording. But note that cameras are in the space to include the stage, and this is only for the purposes of live streaming to the overflow room in Biology 120 to ensure more community members could be a part of today's listening session.
This event is about listening. Administrators, faculty, staff members, including personnel from Human Relations are also in the room tonight. Our panel of campus leaders who want to hear from you and know your experiences. Tonight, the panel includes Dr. Freeman Habrowski, President of UMBC, Dr. Nancy Young, Vice President of Student Affairs, Valerie Thomas, Vice President of Human Relations, Dr. Pat McDermott, Vice Provost, and Adam Harvey, Chair of the University Steering Committee. At this time, President Habrowski would like to share a few thoughts.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I actually wrote down 6 points because my students have given me 2 minutes, and I'm going to stick to those. I want to start by saying we are here because we care about this community, starting with our students, our staff, our alumni. We have been listening to the experiences of students, and I want to begin by saying I am so sorry that I know I want to say to all of you that I apologize because we can do better for you. Third, we've received a number of suggestions, demands, recommendations, and we are already moving ahead to focus on a number of them and implementation because the number had a lot of merit, a great deal of merit, things we could be doing anyway. I did remember that somebody asked me the question about structure, and we'll make sure that we'll do this for this implementation. We have to bring in an external view, a body that can look at everything we're doing to tell us what we do well or what we don't, and what we need to include, and how to involve more students in the process, as students have talked about the fact that they need to be heard, as we're going to do today. And finally, I want to add this one point. I am so proud of all of our students who have been expressing their views and letting us know they care about other students and that they understand the best of an American democracy is when people can speak out. So now I'm ready to listen. Thank you so much for being UMBC. Thank you.
Thank you, President Habrowski. As a community, we know that to effectively listen to each other, we have to treat each other with mutual respect and kindness. For the sake of time and to create time for as many community members to be heard today, each individual who speaks will be limited to 2 minutes, and we've asked our panel not to respond at this time.
If you decide to share personal experiences related to sexual violence, please take note that this forum today does not constitute notice to the university so long as you do not disclose any names or other specific identifying information, such as locations or familial relationships, as those details may prompt staff to follow up with you for reporting matters. important for incidents related to childhood sexual abuse. If, however, you would like to report an incident or receive additional support, specific university staff members who are quasi-confidential reporters are here tonight and can meet with you and ask you assist you in making a report. These staff members are sitting near the back of the room. Could you please stand up so you can be identified? Thank you.
Audience members, we have 2 microphones, one located each side of the auditorium. We'll be calling on speakers one at a time, alternating sides. Kim and myself will be interjecting periodically to share thoughts sent via the Google form. We are receiving a lot of thoughts through the form, and we will share as many as time allots. Again, we ask of everyone to respect the space that we have created here this afternoon.
Student, I'm a chemical engineering major with a physics minor, and I'm in the honors college. I would like to address a problem that I'm currently experiencing with the Title IX office here at UMBC. According to the University System of Maryland Policy on Sexual Assault, under Section 2, Institutional Obligations, subsection C, Prompt Investigation. Prompt generally means within 60 calendar days from the time a report is brought to the institution's attention until an initial decision is rendered. There may be circumstances that prevent an institution from meeting the 60-day timeline. When an institution is unable to meet the 60-day timeline, the institution should document the reasons why it was unable to meet the 60-day timeline. The institution should also designate reasonably prompt time frames for the major stages of the process and set forth the procedure for extending such time frames within which 1, the institution will conduct a full investigation, 2, the parties will receive a notice of outcome, and 3, the parties may file an appeal. I reported an incident in February of this year. The very last communication I had with the Title IX office was in May. 5 months with no communication about the progress of the investigation is neither prompt nor reasonable. I feel disrespected as a member of the UMBC community and as a victim. I don't know if my rapist is still on campus. Another point I would like to make is that there is no access to safe exams in any of the local hospitals. The day after the incident, I went to 4 different hospitals, and eventually I did get a safe exam, but it took several hours driving around Baltimore. In conclusion, my experience has been traumatic not only because of the incident itself, but because of the failure of the university to uphold its obligations through prompt investigation, thorough communication, and absolute support of its students who are victims of rape and sexual assault. I implore the university to make the efforts and sacrifices necessary to bring safety and justice to its students. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, and know that your voice is heard. At this time, we'd like to read one of the comments made through the Google form. It states, I am saddened that a school that claims to support women would protect sexual assaulters.
Again, if you'd like to submit through the Google form, you can submit to bit.ly/UMBC listens. You can raise your hand and someone with a card can come by, and again, you can come down to the mic at this time.
So hello, my name is and I am a social work and women gender studies major here at UMBC. Something that I would actually really like to comment on, and I feel that it's really important to understand, and it was section number 7 under demands given to the university president, was that the need to understand that sexual assault and violence is also a health issue, and accessibility to rape kits as well as prompt health care is incredibly important, especially if a student wishes to report and press charges, because it takes a lot of courage and a lot emotionally to even make that step. So why have all these roadblocks, and why make it so much more difficult for them to do so?
worded as it has been submitted. As an RA, I hope students campus-wide know that their paraprofessional staff are always here for them. We want to be a listening ear to survivors and anyone else who shows strong feelings about Title IX situations. We care about every single person on UMBC's campus.
We all recognize that some things matter, and some things don't. I'd like to talk about some things that matter to me. UMBC is my dream school. During my senior year in high school, this was the only place I wanted to go to. And it was the only place to which I actually wanted to apply. When I told my guidance counselor that, he told me I was crazy. He said that I had to apply to at least 3 universities. He said that it mattered, so I did. UMBC's acceptance letter came first, I remember, because it came on my mom's birthday. When the other 2 acceptance letters came from Loyola and College Park, I didn't even want to open them, because at that point, those letters didn't matter to me. I knew that I was going to go to my dream school, and in that moment, that was all that mattered. Fast forward to last March, right? UMBC goes to March Madness. Basketball has never mattered to me, until suddenly it did. We made history, at least that's what I was told, but I didn't totally understand what happened at the time. I do understand statistics, though. Our basketball team did something really amazing, point blank, period. My pride for UMBC and my love for UMBC only grew after that game. UMBC athletics somehow became important to me and began to matter. Now we're here, 6 months later, and suddenly none of it matters anymore. 16/1 doesn't matter when at least half the people on this campus feel like we don't matter to you. If I hadn't gotten into UMBC my senior year of high school, if that letter had said something different, I would have been incredibly disappointed, devastated even. But right now, in this moment, I can't even put my disappointment into words, other than to say that I feel like UMBC, my dream school, has failed me and everyone here. In this instance, and in too many others, UMBC has failed to recognize that we matter. And that's all I have to say.
At this time, I will read another submission from the Google form. Somebody submitted. Please don't move UHS or the Counseling Center. Residential students need it the most, and that's where they need to be. Also, there are many places on campus where the street lights are not on, which often makes me feel unsafe at night.
Hi, my name is a doctoral student in the Human Services Psychology program here. I just wanted to comment about the fact that this has been a long-standing issue at this university prior to this class action lawsuit, something that We Believe You and other student activists, student survivors have been working on for a really long time. So myself, along with We Believe You last semester, put together a petition of some concerns and some changes that we wanted to see at the university around the fact that our university has been under Title IX investigation for quite some time. We actually have no dedicated office that is specifically for survivors, for serving survivors of sexual violence and for overseeing prevention programs. We have other offices that do a great job at that, like the Women's Center, but not dedicated for survivors. Most people don't know where to report. And our current prevention programming, which you may or may not have done, is actually not required for students. It's not mandatory, excuse me, although other universities require it or mandate it. And in addition, most of our students lack knowledge of where to go, what are the resources, And we have no Title IX language in our syllabi, other things like that. And we met with the administration. We were pretty readily dismissed, unfortunately. And our concerns weren't taken seriously. And so I'm not really surprised, unfortunately, to see that this has come to be the way that it is. And I just really hope that this puts the pressure on and this helps the administration see that this is an important issue and we deserve better. Retrievers deserve to be on a campus where we're safe, where we're supported, where sexual assault is actually taken seriously, not just swept under the rug. Thank you.
We have another submission from the forum. I'm absolutely disgusted with how these allegations have been handled thus far, and I've never been less proud to be a part of this institution. Paul Dillon and the UMBC police have done a horrendous job of making the student body feel safe, from the way they treat sexual assaults to how they handle day-to-day aspects of campus. In my experience at UMBC, there were two notable instances that made me personally feel unsafe on campus. Number one, Paul Dillon telling commuters to, quote, just park in lot 25 and, quote, get some exercise, and receiving complaints about parking. Lot 25 lacks a sidewalk and proper lighting, making it isolated and unsafe. As a female student, I don't feel safe walking there, especially during the early morning or late afternoon and at night. It also lacks accessibility for students who have mobility issues but may not qualify for a handicap permit. Number two, Paul Dillon stated in response to student concerns over non-functional emergency lights at the event center, quote, in today's day and age, with the accessibility of personal cell phones, it is very unlikely that if you are being attacked, we would run over to the emergency phone instead of using your cell phone to call for help. Based on that logic, why bother installing emergency lights at all? His apathy to student safety was alarming and unprofessional, and disregarded the fact that cell phones can run out of battery, get lost or stolen, broken, etc., which is why we need to have working emergency beacons in the first place. The two examples I just described pale in comparison to how the alleged rapes of my peers were mishandled and largely ignored. UMBC police needs a leader that is competent with handling basic student safety, let alone reports of assault. Paul Dillon is not this leader.
My name is here at UMBC. 2 years ago, I heard a presentation from a group called Callisto, C-A-L-L-I-S-T-O. Just they're a system created originally for colleges and universities. It's really nervous, I don't know if you're on it. And they just focus on reporting and have a lot of really good tools that are survivor-centered, including one that's you can write a time-stamped thing about what happened without reporting, and it's a chance to match up with repeat offenders, so people can know when it's been the same person doing things, and that stops a lot more assaults and there's more accountability. I just think they're a really great organization to look at as an example.
I'm a third-year student now. I'm a fourth-year student, sorry, I'm a senior. I have been lucky enough to not have been sexually assaulted on this campus, but I do not at this time feel lucky to be at this school. There is no doubt in my mind that if such a thing was to occur, I would be let down, disappointed, and done wrong by the administration here. I shouldn't hesitate to walk from my room to the dining hall late at night alone, to complain to administration about the problematic actions of some of my peers, or to contact health services. While I was unaware of UMBC's history with Title IX and sexual misconduct, I still knew that campus authority was not to be trusted. I have given almost 4 years of my life and thousands of dollars to this university, and it's disgusting that I should feel this way.
And I just wanted to say, I love this university. I came from high school where I didn't really like it there. This is a great, fantastic community, and even if it was going to, this event was really terrible. It was awful. It's not supposed to happen to anybody, especially not here. But it would have been so much better if campus police, they did their job, everybody did their job, and made it known that this is not acceptable behavior at this university. You know, you can't have it so like, you can't be like, we're a good school, you know, we're high rankings, you know, we want our campus to feel safe and then not do your job. And not have that happen. Because in that case, then how are we better than, say, Michigan State or Baylor? They're good schools, but they still let this happen to them. We can't have that happen. I love this university too much. I love this community too much. We can't have that happen. That's all I'm saying. We can't have that.
Okay, hi. My name is freshman music and math double major. Okay. When I chose to come here, I was under the impression that this was a safe campus. My friends and I even joked on the first night that there was nothing that bad that could happen to us here, even in the dark. I was under the impression that Title IX was handled well. I was under the impression that people were protected when assaulted. As a transgender student, I have a 40% chance of getting sexually assaulted in my lifetime. Frankly, I'm appalled and I feel unsafe now at this campus. I submitted via the Google form earlier, so I guess ignore that, but I feel like it's important to put a face to my words. Sorry, I'm nervous right now. I implore the administration to help us feel safe, to make us safe, and to stop protecting rapists and assaulters, and to take what we say seriously, unlike what happened a few days ago after the protest when people were being very political and not answering our questions, not answering us well, and just repeating things over and over again, what they wanted us to hear. It's important. Sorry. It's important that we are heard and that we feel safe. And I need to feel safe for the next 4 years. Thank you.
I will be reading from one of the cards. Question for the administration. What is your reasoning for continuing to keep Paul Dillon employed at UMBC? Is he being investigated? The idea that UMBC administration cannot comment on these issues at this time has no bearing in reality, as other more prominent universities in similar situations in the past have commented. See Columbia University during the mattress girl year.
Hi, my name is and I love the school, and my family is very passionate about the school. My parents went here, and my aunts and uncles, and so I was really excited to go here, and I genuinely have made wonderful friends and had a great time. I think that people would feel a lot safer if we knew that there were concrete steps that we could take if we were reporting an assault. I myself have had nothing to report, thankfully, but my freshman year, me and my roommate were sort of made to feel uncomfortable very often by a boy who lived on our floor. We didn't know how to report it, we didn't know who to talk to, we were new, and we knew that it was sort of a pattern that this boy had been sort of making a lot of women uncomfortable, and I think we were sort of afraid because we didn't know what steps to take. We talked to his roommates who said that he had physically assaulted them a couple of times, and it was sort of getting out of hand, and we told them that we were too uncomfortable to say anything. So the roommates went to Res Life and sort of made an appeal, and were told that there was no reasoning to remove this boy from residential life, which I understand that if you pay money to go here, that you should be allowed to live here, but if you're making everybody uncomfortable and people feel unsafe, I think that the general safety of the people on this campus is more important than one person, and I would like to be able to know how to take steps when things like that happen. So, thank you.
Hi, my name is. As a disabled student, I have often noticed that the police cars park where they block the wheelchair mobility routes. So, if the police have already so enormously bungled all of these cases, why should I, as a student, ever feel any reason to believe that any issue I have would be handled compassionately and with respect by people who cannot handle these cases and who show no compassion for disabled students? One time I attempted to physically document the cars blocking the mobility routes with a camera, and I was reprimanded and made to feel unsafe for doing so. So, I'm disappointed, but I'm not surprised. Thank you.
Hi, my name is some of you may recognize me from the Speak Out on Monday. My question to administration is, why have two police departments in such close proximity if students still feel unsafe?
Hi, my name is. I'm a second-year chemistry major, a trans woman, and a Meyerhoff scholar. I would like to reiterate something that I've said to administration before. According to the recent-ish campus climate survey posted in 2015 and results published, about 1 in 5 retrievers have been sexually assaulted. According to the fire marshal, the capacity of this room is about 400, and that's not including the bio building that is currently full. Using the stats, over 80 of us are survivors. And I'm guessing the number is actually quite larger. I think we need to change this. I'm a survivor of not just one, but 2 assaults, and I get panic attacks every time I see my assaulters. As a school, we promote an environment of academic excellence, and I cannot focus on my organic chemistry class if I'm constantly looking over my shoulder and worrying about who I might see. I want to go to a good grad school and earn a PhD, but I can't do that if I can't focus on my classes because I'm worried about myself and others. I want to love this school, and I think I do, but it's so hard during these times.
They are not the ones who live, sleep, and constantly exist in the same space as them. University discipline for sexual assault should be decided by the students who are in danger and not someone sitting in an office deciding what the profit margin of individuals is.
Hi, my name is a second-year student. I'm a visual arts and psychology major. Another name that I was given this year is RA. I have 39 students underneath me that I am in charge of, I guess. As an individual who knows many survivors, but I have luckily been not in one of those situations, I apologize that has happened to you. I am considered a paraprofessional, so I am considered a UMBC staff member, but I'm also a student. So as a student, I thank all of you for sharing your and being courageous and strong today. As a staff member, I'm so sorry this happened. Wow, okay. That happened, okay. As an RA, I would like to say that we are all here to listen to you, and that we're very sorry that if we have ever made you feel that you are not able to be heard. So please make yourself aware of who is in your residential hall. We are all very friendly. I got to meet all of them like less than 3 weeks ago. And we are students, we understand the stresses that happen, and we do have to report stuff that could be possibly harmful, but we are here to support you and get you through things. So that's all.
My name is I'm a senior chemical engineering student and UMBC lacrosse alumni, so yes, I've been part of the athletic department. As I've been listening to the stories here today, I've noticed that men are the criminals here today. As a man, I want it to be known that not all men are like this. Let it be clear that those who commit these vile acts are the worst of our society, deserve to be punished to the fullest extent. What happened to the good men of this world who will stand up for women when their voice is not being heard? Are other men afraid to stand up to each other and stand for what is right? The victims that have spoken up are the most courageous people I know. I call on all men to draw on this courage and look out for our fellow female peers instead of hurting them. Men, this problem starts and ends with us. Thank you.